Hey boys, it's HarmNone. Today we're going to be going over what to buy and what to avoid this week in Grand Theft Auto Online. Now really quick before we get into the video, as I've said in the past few of these, if you aren't subscribed to my channel, consider subscribing if you enjoy this style of content. I post this video every week as well as content every other day of the week. So consider subscribing if you haven't already. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, if not dislike. Of course, feel free to wait to the end before you do so, but let's go ahead and get started by talking about the vehicle that's sitting here right behind me. This is of course the Brigade 6x6 or the Acid Lab. Now this is on bonus money this week, which is super awesome to see. It's on double money and double RP, which is really cool. So definitely going to be the best way to make money this week in GTA Online. But speaking of how to make money this week in GTA, we're going to talk about the other couple of methods that are on bonus money. First up, carrying over from last week, we have the Ludendorff Cemetery Survival on double money and double RP still. This is a pretty fun mode for the first time you play it, and then beyond that, it's not that awesome. The double money and double RP really doesn't seem to do a whole lot for it because you're still not going to make a ton of money with it. However, I would recommend trying it out at least once because it is kind of cool. However, it does get very repetitive very quickly. I think it's a really good concept for an idea. I just think that Rockstar should improve on it a little bit more in the future and make it into something truly special. Kind of, you know, rivaling Call of Duty Zombies or something like that, but it is pretty good, so I would definitely at least try it once. Even if you only survive a few waves, that's cool, but definitely give it a shot at least once for sure. And of course, being that we are getting a little bit closer to Halloween, we do have the Slasher Adversary Mode added back into GTA Online. Now this is going to be a way for you to actually earn some pretty decent money. The adversary modes on double money and double RP notoriously are pretty good, and Slasher is a really fun adversary mode to begin with, and it's going to be paying bonus money, which is really cool. So me and the boys are definitely playing this week. I would highly recommend that you guys play this as well. It is a great time, especially with friends, but even with randoms, it is pretty scary and it is pretty fun. So definitely give this a shot. You're going to earn a decent amount of money with this, probably more than you will with the Ludendorff Survival. So keep that in mind. And of course, as I said right at the start, the Brigade 6x6 or the Acid Lab is paying double money and double RP. Now, this thing is actually going to be paying you about 700,000 for a regular sale because it is double money and double RP. And it regularly sells for about 350,000. Now, in a public session, you could get as high as like $1 million per sale with the Acid Lab, and it is actually one of the fastest producing businesses in the game, and it's also got the ability to speed up the production as well inside of it. So definitely take advantage of the Acid Lab money bonus this week, guys. It is by far the best way to earn money this week in GTA Online. Okay, this is HarmNone in post. I also have a guide on the Acid Lab. I'll leave a link in the description down below, as well as my other business guides if you guys are interested. Thanks. Now we do also have one more way to earn money this week in GTA, and that is by killing your clone Slasher. And if you do this, you will receive a special mask and $100,000 in GTA, which is pretty cool. Now, if you're unfamiliar with how this works, there are certain zones on the map that will spawn in, and they're not going to be marked on the map, so you're just kind of going to have to know where they are, where these slashers are going to spawn and try to kill you. Now, there is one slasher that will replicate your exact character, so they will like double as my character, and there'll be another, you know, they'll spawn in near me, it'll make a sound effect, and if you kill them, you're gonna get 100 grand. So that's a pretty good way to make some money this week too, I guess, if you can manage to find them. They are kind of rare though, so do keep that in mind. For discounts this week, starting off on Legendary Motorsport, we have the Enos Windsor drop discounted this week. Pretty awesome car. Now, unfortunately, nothing in the way of customization, so this is probably going to be one that's very up in the air as to whether you should buy it or avoid it. Performance is not very good. Customization is non-existent, but if you want a really cool luxury Rolls Royce, this is a pretty awesome one to have for sure, and it is of course a convertible as well. Now it is super long, so that's another thing you're gonna have to contend with, and the handling is pretty trash. So do keep these things in mind. For 630 grand, I personally would say to go for it because I do like the car, but for the majority of you, it's probably not going to be worth purchasing the Windsor drop this week unless you've been looking out for it for a while, or you're in the market for some sort of, you know, luxury / convertible vehicle. So do with that information what you will. Now, also on Legendary Motorsport, under the two-door section, you'll find that the Annis Euros is discounted. Now, this thing is a Tuner's DLC car, so it has a ton of customization. However, the Euros has always been a car that's kind of disappointed me, and I don't think it is that good. However, if you guys are in the market for a drift tunable car, which means you can put the drift tuning on it so it actually like drifts properly, not low grip tires, that's not what I'm talking about. You can also see that it does have drift tuning available through the LS Car Meet here. So if you're in the market for a drift car that is highly customizable, the Annis Euros may be something that is a little bit right for you. Now, if you want the best drift car of them all, the Euros is far from that. They all do drift kind of similarly, but I have found that the Euros is not that awesome for me personally. Overall, I'm not really a super big fan of the Euros. It has always kind of disappointed me and always been just not quite as good as I feel like it should have been. But with that being said, at the end of the day, it is under $1 million for a highly customizable drift tunable car. So if that makes sense to you and that is something that you are interested in, by all means, buy the Annis Euros. For the majority of you though, I would say to avoid picking this thing up this week. Over here on Southern San Andreas Super Autos, we have a few more discounts. Some of them are carrying over from the previous week, like the Albany Brigham. Pretty customizable car, really slow, really not fun to drive, but highly customizable. You can make it look like the Ghostbusters car, which is pretty sweet, and as a novelty item, it's pretty cool. However, you can buy this at any time of year, so do keep that in mind, but for, you know, $450,000 off, it might be worth it to you. The Willard Eudora is also discounted this week, which is a new discount for the week, $875,000. This thing has very similar performance to the Albany Brigham, which is to say it's not very good. It does have some nice customization like the Albany Brigham as well. It is slightly cheaper than the Albany Brigham. Out of the two of them, I would definitely buy the Willard Eudora. It is just a cooler car in my opinion. But at the end of the day, for $875K, if you're looking for performance or anything like that, look elsewhere, because the Eudora is not going to achieve that for you. And even customization wise, it's not that fantastic. The Annis Euros would be a much better car for you to buy if you're looking for customization. However, cool, classic looking car. You can't really go wrong with it, but at the same time, you very much can, depending on what you're looking for. So just keep in mind, if you want something good, the Willard Eudora is not what I would consider to be good, so I would avoid this thing this week. Same as the Albany Brigham. Honestly, they're not really that great of cars, unless you want novelty items. Keep that in mind. The Frankenstein, which is a limited time vehicle, is also discounted, carrying over from last week and the week before that. $385K. Now, it has basically nothing in the way of customization, but it does sound absolutely incredible. For $385K, you're kind of getting your money's worth out of it. Just don't expect to go around corners very well at all. However, in a straight line, it's not so bad. This is one that is pretty interesting, and I would say to pick up for $385 grand. We also have the Chariot Romero hearse carried over from the previous 2 weeks as well. $31,500. You can't go wrong with it. It's got a coffin in the back of it, which is pretty cool. I mean, yeah, it's $31K, bro. Like, yeah, buy it. We also have the DeClassy Tornado Rat Rod carried over from the previous 2 weeks as well. $264,600. Kind of, yeah, you can't go wrong with it. It's a pretty okay vehicle for $264,000. Not the greatest, not a lot of customization, not the greatest driving experience, but yeah, it's kind of Halloween-y, I guess. So yeah, I wouldn't buy it personally, but you can if you want to. It's cheap, so at the end of the day, it's your decision. And last but not least, on Southern, we have the Albany Lurcher for $455,000. The Albany Lurcher, again, is a limited time Halloween vehicle. It does have this zombie sticking out of the coffin in the back of it, which is pretty cool. It's got 2 livery options as well as some customization, which is kind of nice. Again, this is one similar to the Frankenstein that you can't really go wrong with for $455 grand. It's a cool car and it is limited time, and it's very obviously Halloween themed. So for those reasons, I would say to, yeah, probably purchase this thing before it goes off sale, and you can't get it until next year. Okay, so there you have it. Those are the discounts on the websites. Now it's time to go to the casino, the car meet, talk about all the vehicles that are available in the dealerships and everything like that. So let's go. Within the LS car meet, we have the Dinka Kanjo SJ available to be won this week. This thing's pretty cool. It's got a lot of customization, and a fun fact is that it is a cut Tuner's DLC vehicle, so it is actually stanceable, which is really weird, but it's a fact. So cool one. You should try to win it if you can. And available to be won within the LS car meet, we have the Karen Futo GTX. And in order to win this thing, you guys are going to have to place top 5 for 3 days in a row. Now, this is one that I would recommend trying to win because similar to the Annis Euros that we talked about a little bit earlier, this thing also has the drift tuning modification that can be applied to it, and I do consider this to be one of the very best drift tunable cars in GTA Online. The customization is also awesome because it is a tuner's DLC vehicle, so this is definitely one that I would try to win, especially for a relatively easy challenge. Within the LS car meet, we have 3 removed vehicles. Starting off on the left, we have the Benefactor Serrano. This thing goes for about $110,000. Yes, I am absolutely correct. This is an awesome one. A little bit of customization, pretty cool vehicle overall. I would definitely say I recommend the Serrano for sure. In the middle, we got the Grotti GT500. This thing is horribly overpriced, going for $785K, which is not too bad in all honesty, but not realistically worth the amount of money that it costs. Now, it does have some nice customization, it does drive okay, and it is a sports classic vehicle. For $785K though, I just don't really think it's worth the money, to be honest. Now, finally, on the right, we have the Coil Raiden, which is removed. It's based off of a Tesla, which a lot of you are probably going to like. It goes for $1,375,000. For that price, this thing is not very good. It's one of the worst handling electric cars in GTA Online, and all the electric cars in this game have a terrible handling balance to begin with, and this is one of the very worst. So that is definitely something to keep in mind. However, the customization is kind of decent for it. It is all-wheel drive, and it is, of course, electric, so the acceleration is pretty crazy. Overall, though, I don't think it's worth the money, so I would definitely avoid the Coil Raiden this week. Within Simeon's dealership, we have a bunch more vehicles. Starting off in the corner with the Declassy Scramjet. I'm not really sure why the hell they have put this in Simeon's dealership. It is available on Warstock Cash and Carry at all times, so this seems very strange to me. So yeah, I don't buy a Scramjet from Simeon's, just buy it on Warstock like everybody else and upgrade it. I don't understand why this is here, but it's here. Next up, we of course have the Benefactor Sterling GT. Now this thing is absolutely awesome, and it's also discounted this week by 30% off. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. Now this thing is absolutely awesome. It's going for $709,000 right now, being discounted, which is a pretty fair price. I would definitely say to pick up a Sterling GT, particularly though if you are on the next gen platform, Xbox Series S or X or PlayStation 5, because this thing does have an HSW upgrade and it becomes one of the very fastest sports classic cars in the game for both racing as well as top speed, which is pretty cool. It also has had added customization. It's got some different spoiler options as well as some different livery options and things like that, which is pretty sweet too. So definitely pick up a Sterling GT this week. It is 100% worth it. Now next up, we also have the Grotti Cheetah right here. No discount on this thing, going for its regular price of $650K, I do believe. Yes, that is correct. It's got some pretty cool customization, at least as far as the spoiler options go. Beyond that, there's not a whole lot with this car. Overall, the performance is not that great, but for $650K, you kinda can't really go wrong with it. At the same time though, you kinda can depending on what you're looking for. So if you're wanting something insanely good for performance, the Cheetah is not gonna get you there. But if you want a cool car to cruise around in free mode in that's kinda rare and removed, the Cheetah is an awesome car. For $650K, I think for the majority of people, you can't really mess up with buying it. So I would say to buy it this week if you don't have one already. Again, we have the Cherry Romero Hearse here in Simeon's. I don't know why it's discounted on the website and at Simeon's. That's weird to me, but it is here. And then, of course, we do have the Canis Bodhi, which most of you will probably recognize as Trevor's truck from Story Mode. This thing has a little bit of customization, and it is very, very cheap, going for only $25,000. And for that price, you cannot go wrong with this thing. It is a removed vehicle. It is not purchasable, so you should definitely pick up a Canis Bodhi whenever you get a chance to. And within luxury autos, Rockstar has done something absolutely amazing. We have the Vapid Illusion available to be purchased through luxury autos, which is crazy. This is from a few DLCs ago, which is nuts. So pretty cool to see that in here. At the same time though, it's purchasable on the website, so I'm not really that impressed after all. But it's available at luxury autos, and so is the Vapid Dominator FX, which is also right at the top of Southern San Andreas Super Autos. So yeah, Just keep disappointing me. Just keep doing it, Rockstar. Just keep going. Within the Chop Shop this week in GTA Online, guys, we have the Pegasi Torero XO available to be collected by completing the Gangbanger robbery. Further to Classy Vigoro ZX, you will need to complete the Duggan robbery, and for the Canis Camacho, you will need to complete the McTony robbery. And unfortunately, of course, none of these are claimable vehicles this week, which does suck, because the Torero or the Vigoro or the Camacho, honestly, would all be pretty cool as claimable vehicles, but yeah, we're not that lucky, I guess. Alright, and of course, last but not least, we have the time trials to go over. Starting things off with your RC Bandito time trial, we have Cypress Flats. For your Junk Energy time trial, we of course have Mirror Park. For your regular time trial, we have Sawmill, and your HSW time trial starts at Del Perro and ends in Murrieta Heights. There you have it, guys. That has been it for what to buy and what to avoid this week in GTA Online. If you guys enjoyed this video, if you learned something, a like is of course appreciated. If not, dislike. Consider subscribing to my channel if you guys are new. A lot of you guys watch, not a lot of you subscribe, so consider doing that if you haven't already. Those of you who are subscribed, I do really appreciate it, and I know you guys are probably sick of hearing me talk about it, but I gotta do what I gotta do. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I will see you all in the next video. If you made it to the end, comment a 7 down below. I'll see you in the next one. Till then, take care. Peace.